Hey guys, today I'm filming my monthly makeup ranking for May and I am so excited to be talking about all of these products, but I have a lot of things to talk about. I have 20 different products that I tested out this month. Some of these are new releases. Some of these products have been out for a while, but I'm just now getting around to trying them. I'm going to do my best to be succinct, but I am going to be reviewing 20 products. This is going to be a long video, but I will do the best that I can. I have a good amount of products in the favorites category, several in the fails, but most of the products fell in the middle in more of the fine category, but I will also be ranking them. So I have 4 products that I'm classifying as fails, 2 that are like lingering between fails and fine for various reasons. So we will get started with my least favorite products of all, and this is something that I featured in my Sephora VIB sale haul part 2, where I did try on the 4 items I had purchased with my second haul. I will have it linked in the cards so you guys can see the products in action. I will be reviewing all of the products from both of my Sephora haul videos except for the mini love palette. I did not get around to testing that one, but I did test everything else. So the least favorite product of the month, number 20, would be the Rare Beauty liquid lip balm in Nearly Apricot, and a lot of people have really been enjoying this formula, and Tara Brooke had mentioned it, I think, as a favorite spring lip product, so that's really what pushed me to purchase it. And unfortunately, it just was not it for me. So the first reason I didn't like it is because it is so incredibly sheer. I knew it was going to be more of a light opacity, which is totally fine with me. I actually don't like fully opaque glosses, but it was so sheer with 2 layers. I could see a little bit of color, but I have very lightly pigmented lips, so usually even sheer products show up on me very well. That's not an issue that I have with lip products, so I was surprised to have that issue. And the other issue I had was the texture of it. So it does feel really smooth, which is nice, but it is a little bit thick. At first I was like, oh, that's kind of like cushiony, and then it started to get on my nerves, and especially if I am putting on 2 layers to try to build up some color, it's adding more product, which is adding to that thickness. It wasn't sticky, but just that thickness was uncomfortable to me. I am very picky about lip products and the way that things feel on my lips, so I'm a little more critical than others might be. But even though this was only like $18, I could have used it, but I don't know how much I would have been reaching for it. And I am trying to think of some lip products, especially glosses, as if I would want to use it up or not, if I would want to pan it, and I would not want to. But I do have a little deluxe size sample of the Nearly Neutral shade that, spoiler, will be going into my summer project pan. So I know that's like really small, but hopefully that will be enough product for me to be able to really test the formula and see if maybe I change my mind, but I don't think I'm going to. It's just too thick feeling for me. Number 19 is another lip product. That would be the NYX Shine Loud Liquid Lipstick in Overnight Hero, which is more of a very, very cool tone purple color, and I liked it with that makeup look. I did wear it in a video, but in general, that's not my kind of color. It looks a little bit different than I thought based on the picture online, but I was a little worried about the color buying it, just because I know that the pictures on Ulta aren't always the most accurate, but all of the nude and neutral shades were sold out, and I really wanted to try that formula because it's been so popular on TikTok. So it's a double-ended product, has a liquid lipstick on one side and a gloss on the other. For the liquid lipstick, I really like the shape of the applicator. It has more of like a pointed tip, which made application really easy, which is good because it's very pigmented. It was fully opaque, but it was so sticky. I could not get past it. But you're thinking, well, Heather, that's what the gloss is for. And yes, it is. And the gloss is very shiny. It's really like smooth feeling, not too thin or too thick. I really did like the texture of the gloss. It had more of a brush style applicator, which I don't prefer, but I think it's necessary with that kind of product. Or if you use like a regular doe foot lip gloss, I think it might like smudge the lipstick underneath or kind of like break it up a bit. So I get why they had that applicator. But you're going to run through the gloss way faster than the liquid lipstick, I'm assuming. And I don't think that any old clear gloss can go on top of that. I know that people layer glosses over liquid lipsticks all the time. I guess I'm not trying the right formulas. I will tell you for sure, Buxom lip glosses do not go over top of liquid lipstick, but I haven't played around too much because the times I have, it hasn't worked out for me. But I'm thinking, how many times a day am I gonna have to reapply the gloss, because I cannot stand that stickiness for even a minute. And what was really weird is that as I was wearing it and I was talking throughout the video, I could feel like little pieces of the lip product like in my mouth. And I don't know if it's just because I got too much on the inside of my lip and it couldn't fully set because that's wet in there. I'm not sure, but I did not get the hype that everyone else has. And it could be, you know, that I was initially put off by the shade, but I really do not have any interest in trying another shade. But a lot of people really love that product and the Rare Beauty, so I would love to hear your experience. And also a lot of people really love this next lip product, and it just did not live up to the expectations for me. And that would be the NARS Soft Matte Tinted Lip Balm. And I think there's 5 or 6 shades. I chose Unrestricted, which is the pinky nude shade. The rest of the colors are a bit more warm tone. And I love a warm tone shade, but I have more of those. And I am looking for like a good pink for me. And this one was actually very similar to my natural lip color, which I don't initially mind, but because it is matte, it looked like my regular lips with a lip balm on. Some people might like that look, but for freaking like $25 NARS price, no ma'am. Like, I don't need it to look like I have nothing on for $25. No, I do not. So the texture of this was actually very smooth, and it reminded me of the Velvet Lip Glides because it does have that more like silicone thin texture to it, but it is matte, which is nice. But again, because of the shade that I got, I might as well have just worn a lip balm and I would have had basically the same effect. I did try it several times and I wanted to keep it because so many people love it. I was really trying to convince myself that I loved it, but really for that price, it was just a no. If this was a drugstore lip product, I probably would have held on to it because the formula, the texture of the lip balm itself was very comfortable. I don't think it's hydrating. I don't think you can replace your regular lip balm with this if you have like really dry lips, but it didn't like accentuate any dryness. The formula was very smooth and nice. It just was too expensive for the lack of pigment I was getting on my lips, and that could definitely be because of the shade that I chose, but I don't plan on buying another shade because it's just too expensive. And the last product that is in the fails category was so sad to me, but I felt like it was coming. And I had a little bit of hesitancy in buying it because I heard some bad reviews from my friend Jean, and I was like, no, I want to try it anyway. So it would be the Artist Couture Ethereal Bloom palette. It's so cute. I love the packaging. I believe there are 4 mattes, 4 shimmers. I did use every single shade, and I did film, well, I filmed videos wearing those eyeshadows, so I'll have the videos down below if I remember to. If I don't remember, remind me. But you can also just look back at my videos from this past month and you can see from the description box what I'm wearing. So anyway, I did create looks using all of those, and the mattes were great. They were very pigmented, they blended nicely, and you do have some like pastel neons in there, or a little bit more of like a richer pastel shade, and the mattes performed very well. And they don't always, even that more like turquoisey shade, which I usually have a hard time with those kind of matte turquoises, that one worked very well. But the shimmers, sis, were not it. They were very dry, very flaky. It took a lot for me to build them up. I had a lot of fallout on my face, and the quality of those was just terrible. If I got this palette for 50% off, I may have considered keeping it because I really liked the mattes, and the looks overall, once they were done, were very pretty, but no, the shimmer quality was terrible, and I'm not gonna have 15% off and keep a palette where only half the shades work for me. So I did end up returning that. I returned all 4 of those products. So now we're moving on to the fine category, but there are 2 palettes that are teetering on fine and fail. And The first one is from ColourPop. It is the Miss Bliss palette. So this center shade here is Over It. It's from a different palette actually. What was in here was a pressed glitter. My friend Jean had decluttered this to me and she had taken out the glitter. She put a different shade in that I have popped out and put in my Z palette with my ColourPop singles, and then I put a different shade in here because I am going to be decluttering this one, and this palette just disappointed me. So you have one pressed glitter, which I hate that finish. You have 4 mattes with glitter. I also hate that finish so much, and that would be this shade, and these 2 lighter ones. And then you've got 2 regular shimmers and you have 2 mattes. So the regular mattes are pigmented, they blend nicely. I really like those. The shimmers are okay. They are pretty once you get them on, but they're a little flaky. They can accentuate a bit of crepiness in the eye, on the eyelid, because they are a little dry. Although again, once the look is all complete, I think it looks fine. I did have some fallout from those shimmery shades, so those are not bad. The mattes are not bad, but again, I dislike half the palette, and that is because of the finishes. So again, this is something that was gifted to me, and that's why I wanted to try it, but I would not have initially purchased it myself because I know I hate those finishes. I do not understand why ColourPop continues to put the mattes with glitters in there, because I know some people like the pressed glitters, but the matte shades with glitter in them, I don't know anybody that likes them. If you do, let me know, and let me know why. It makes these shadows so powdery. You have so much kick up in the pan, so much fallout on your face, and I see the glitter in my crease, which is not what I want. It is so irritating. And I last month reviewed the Aura and Out palette, which was from this like same collection. Same issue, a lot of mattes with glitter, and especially those lighter shades. So ColourPop totally missed the mark with the formula of a lot of those shades. If they would have stuck with the regular shimmers and mattes, I think it would have been much better, because I think the color selection is very pretty. I like the colors they have in here, and I liked the looks that I created. I used this palette twice, maybe 3 times, but at least twice. No ma'am. And I believe each time I combine that palette with my next one, which is the Dominique Cosmetics Lemonade palette. So in here, you've got 6 shimmers and 4 mattes. I used 2 of the mattes and 2 of the shimmers. I used this pink, this peach shimmer, and then this matte and this matte here. And the reason that I don't really love this palette is, first off, I don't feel like the mattes go with the shimmers. I think that the mattes are just a little bit too dark with these more pastel shades. However, I know because of this richness, it will work better for more skin tones, which is great. And I definitely think you can mix this lightest shade with those to lighten them up a bit. I don't know what this shade is supposed to do. For me, I tried using it as a transition color and I built it up and I can see it a little bit, but not really. But I guess if you're like a light medium skin tone, you could use it to set your primer. And if you're more tan, it could highlight, but then it's gonna look a little chalky. So I don't know, that's a weird shade in general. I think it should have been like 2 shades darker and it would have worked better. But the mattes are very pigmented. They do blend nicely. The formula of them is really good. The shimmers though, these are a little bit more on the sheer side. They're a little thin, so they do need to be built up. It wasn't too difficult to build them up, but they're just a little bit more sheer than I would like. Again, the final look on the eye was pretty, but I just don't love these shades together, and I was disappointed with the shimmer formula. So both of these are getting a decluttered as well, and I'm gonna be sending those to my friend Amanda. And the next several products are in the fine category, and I decided to return them because I don't want to keep things that I'm just feeling like meh about initially. So the next one was the Beauty Bakerie Cotton Candy Champagne Blush Palette. Emily Noel has raved about this for forever, so when it went on sale, I was really excited to try it, and I don't get it. So these are all shimmer finish blushes, which looked very pretty on the cheeks. It gave a nice glow by itself, but it didn't accentuate texture too much like a highlighter would. It looked very healthy and pretty, but basically you have a coral shade and 3 different mauves, like one slightly warmer, slightly more purple, slightly cooler. Like the 3 other shades are so similar on the face. It's insane to have all of them in the same palette. So while the formula was fine, I have a similar shade to the coral, which definitely was my favorite. And the other colors, I have other mauves too, and just way too similar. Formula was good, but I couldn't keep it because of the colors. The next thing that I returned is the Kosas Moisturizing Bronzer in Light. So at first, when I heard people talk about this brand and this product, everybody was raving about it, but I have heard some people here and there say some, negative things. I hear that the packaging breaks all the time. I had mine for, 2 weeks, so it didn't have a chance to break, but I've also heard that it stinks, and mine stunk. And I know it's more of like a clean beauty brand, but it smelled weird. It's a powder product, so that was just a little bit confusing. And it is like a baked formula, but it's not like L'Oreal where the products are like a little bit more like rich and creamy. It was a little, well, it was definitely very dusty when I was putting my brush in there, and I couldn't really see it on my skin. And again, I have very fair skin. Basically all bronzers show up on me, and I couldn't really see much color, but then at the same time, especially around my hairline, it looked very orangey and red and very unnatural. It was really ugly. My sister was like, what's happening with your bronzer? Which was so weird because I couldn't see like the depth, but I could see the undertone, and it was not flattering at all. I have a lot of bronzers, and I was like, you know what? This is just not worth the hype for me. So it went back. And next thing would be the ColourPop Bambi eyeliner set. So you had a matte, very pale, like yellow custard kind of color, a very pretty dusty purple matte, and then you had a shimmery rose gold. And these are now a product that you have to sharpen them. They appear to be like the same packaging as their lip liners instead of their other creme gel liners, which are a twist up packaging that a lot of people really don't like because they often break from the base. They can seem a little dry, but that works perfectly for me because I have very watery eyes. So I was excited to see what this new formula was like, and I feel like because they've already come out with another collection that has this new formula, based on what I tried so far, I wasn't as in love. So that like custard color just was a weird shade on me. I did not like it at all. It looked yellow on me. It didn't just look like a brightening nude in the waterline. The dusty purple and the rose gold shade were very pretty. I wore all 3 of them 2 times each this past month, but they tended to run and fade a bit quicker than the other formula. Like they glide on very easily, but they just weren't as long lasting on the waterline as the original liners were. And I decided to return this as well because I have Rosette from ColourPop, which is like a copper mixed with a rose gold. The Bambi one is a little bit rosier, a little bit more pink, but similar enough. The purple is very pretty. I don't have anything like that, but I think I'll be okay without it. And then that custard shade, like I said, I just didn't love. So I did return that. I did buy it from Ulta, so I was able to return it. The next thing that I also returned was the Natasha Denona Love Cheek Duo that had a cream blush and a highlight. And the cream blush is like a cream to powder finish. I tried it one time over my powder and one time under my powder. And over my powder, I applied it with the e.l.f. Small Stipple brush. And it was really pigmented, which was great, but it was really hard to blend out. So the next time I used it, I used my Real Techniques buffing brush. And like I said, I did it before I set my face with powder, and that worked much better. It was much easier to blend out, and I can't remember if I used a translucent powder or a slightly colored powder on top of it, but I know that like it still looked very beautiful, and it did show through. I feel like sometimes when I put a blush under powder, I then feel like I need to go on top with a powder blush. And for me, that's not the purpose. I don't layer my blushes. Also, I'm very fair and like I already like look crazy and intense. Can you just imagine if I layered a powder over a cream? But I just knew I wasn't going to reach for a ton. Like I said, prefer applying blushes over my powder. So that would have been annoying. I could have gotten past it, but it was just really too pigmented and I was gonna have to be really careful with it. But the color is very, very pretty. And then the highlight was a very pretty shade as well. It's very similar to Benefit Tickle and Becca Lilac Geode. I already have the both of those, so I couldn't justify keeping this for the highlight because I have two similar shades. And also it is like a baked gelée formula and I had to kind of work at it with my brush to get product up. And when I did, it was flaking off and I already had some of the highlight in the blush and I'd only used it twice. So I think that the formulas just aren't my preference, but the colors were so pretty and I can understand why people would love it, but it's just way too pricey for me to just feel like meh about it. And the last thing that I returned was the Makeup by Mario Bronze Glam Quad. And this was so beautiful. 4 shades, one matte, deeper, warm-ish brown. You had a warm champagne shimmer, bronze shimmer, and an olive shimmer. Totally at my alley. But because I was returning other things and going to Sephora anyway, I decided to return this as well. I wasn't head over heels in love with it, and I have these shades a million times over because like I love olives especially. And I think that this is actually a good product. It did perform well. The matte was pigmented, blended nicely. These shimmers, I did like go over a couple of times to build up the color, but that didn't bother me. They did have a nice metallic sheen to them. They were a little bit flaky. I did have some fallout on my face, but not terrible. I actually think this was very nice. If I didn't have such a huge collection, I would have kept it. And you're probably thinking, Heather, you knew the size of your collection. Why'd you buy it in the first place? So many people have been raving about it, and I think it's only like $25. And I just, because I was placing an order, decided to get that too, and I just wasn't in love. So I returned all 4 of the products that I had purchased in my second Sephora VIB sale haul. And also, honestly, like I returned more things this month. I decluttered more things this month because I love makeup, but there were some things where I was just like, I don't care about you, goodbye. Which was a little weird for me. I returned and got rid of a lot more things this month than I have in previous months for sure. So then we have 3 more products in the fine category. The first would be this ColourPop Cinderella Horse and Carriage highlight. This is not new by any means. Here is what the shade looks like. It's a light champagne shade, but it has a bit of a blue flash to it. And what I heard from some people is that the one you would buy from Ulta would be more blue than the one from the ColourPop website, which is interesting. This is from the ColourPop site. So it is like a light champagne warm tone, but when you swatch it, it's just really icy. And I don't exactly see the blue undertone, but it's kinda, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's so icy. So this is actually like very smooth. It is really metallic as well. It's a pretty shade, but it is very fair, very metallic, so it does look really intense in the cheek. So I did definitely have to go over and blend it out a bit. And because of its iciness, this is something I would probably wear more in the winter time, but it's something I can possibly see myself decluttering in the future. I really need to compare this to Glazed Donut, which is like my favorite similar shade, and we'll see if I need them both because I also have Becca Pearl, which I don't love and would like to use up. So I don't know, the formula is nice and it does definitely give a good glow on the cheeks, but it's just a little icy for me. So we'll see, maybe I just need to wear it in the right season, which for me would be winter. Next thing is the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lipstick in Amorosa. This was part of the Love collection. And this is a very pretty, I said that funny, pretty cream finish lipstick. and it's my first time trying a Natasha Denona lipstick, so it is fully opaque, and it has like somewhere between like a cream and a satin finish. I'm not seeing any bit of shine, and I thought this was a little bit more cool tone, but it's definitely more of like a peachy beige, and I've worn it a couple of times and I haven't really loved the color on its own. I've actually mixed it with a pink MAC lipstick that I also don't love the color on its own, and those are mixing well together. But I just need to try it with different makeup looks to see what shades I think I like best with it. So I might pull for a little bit more in summer and fall, because it does look a little bit more peachy on me than I've seen it look on others. But the formula is pigmented, it's very smooth and comfortable on the lips. I just am not super in love with the shade yet, and it's a basic cream lipstick. I just don't get it. I don't get what's so special that it costs so much money besides it's Natasha Denona, and I've heard a lot of people rave about this one and other Natasha Denona lipsticks. So part of me feels like I should have returned it because it costs so much, but I do think I will get some use out of this, and I'm past my return window now, even for store credit. So it will be hanging around, but I was not as in love as I was hoping to be. The next product I also contemplated returning, but I decided to hold on to it, and that would be the last product in this fine category, and that would be the Tarte Shape Tape Ultra Creamy Concealer. I have the shade 12 in Fair Neutral, which is a really good shade for me. The shade in this formula looks a little bit different than in the original Shape Tape, but similar enough. Very fair with a neutral leaning yellow undertone, and this is very nice and brightening. Shade works great. The packaging is very similar, but the purple is like more of like a lilac. It's a little bit lighter, but the formula is different. I love the original Tarte Shape Tape because it gives full coverage and it has more of a satin matte finish, which is perfect for me because I have oily under eyes. But I know people with dry skin don't love it because it's too matte. So this is more of a natural finish. It is not dewy. It's more of a natural finish, has a little bit of a glow within, but this is like a light medium coverage, maybe medium. And I have more darkness under my eyes now. I'm not sleeping the best. And I've got some melasma right here, and Tarte Shape Tape covers that. This does not. So I was definitely disappointed with the coverage, and I'm assuming other people would be as well. I think that they were hoping it would be like the same great pigmentation, but with more of like a natural or glowy finish, and that really is not it. It's like half the coverage that you get in the original Shape Tape. So I did consider repurchasing it because of that, but I decided to keep it because I do want to play around with some lighter coverage concealers because my eyes are so runny and watery. Because I have such full coverage concealer under my eyes and I set with so much powder, when it rubs away, it's very noticeable and it looks really terrible. So I wanted to try to play around with, I need to try using less powder and try some lighter coverage concealers. So that is why I kept it. But I'm definitely not going to repurchase it. I know it's going to take me a long time to use up as well, but no. If you're hoping for the original Shape Tape coverage with a glowy finish, you're going to be disappointed by this. And now we've got my top 6 products, and these are now in the favorites category. And number 6 would be the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01. And people have raved about this for years, but I never got it because I figured it'd be too similar to my skin tone for it being a natural lit from within highlight. I figured it would look like a setting powder on me. And I actually had purchased this from the BoxyCharm Facebook group for a great price because Laura Mercier is very expensive. And it really is like a candle lit glow from within kind of color. And it's actually, it's right here. It is lighter than it looks because I am wearing this today and I've had my makeup on for a while. I've had a baby all over my face today, so it might not be as noticeable, but I actually still went over and blended it out because it did actually show up on my face, and it is like a little bit lighter, like I said, so it does still give a nice glow. And because it isn't super metallic, it is something that I can bring into the center of my cheek a little bit to give more of like a youthful look. it's really pretty. I was impressed with this and surprised by how well it actually worked on my skin tone. But I know right now, like very more natural lit from within highlights are popular. So this would be a good option if you are wanting to go for that kind of look. And it does come in other shades as well, I believe. But this is 01, the lightest, and I was very happy to see that it also worked for my skin tone. And then number 5 is a very intense highlight, which is still my preference. And that is the Lorac Luxe Diamond Golden Hour palette. And it is their diamond highlight formula, which is a really nice formula. They have 3 individual shades. Unfortunately, they're all too dark for me. My sister has the more pink tone Gilded Lily and is in love. She's hit major pan on it. So I was excited for this palette because these are all new shades, I believe. And even though I knew these 3 were not really going to match me, I figured that I can mix them together, especially this lighter shade is a bigger one, which is great because that's one that fits me best and I really can mix it. So these are very intense, very metallic highlights. I did put this on my face and swatch all of the shades in that Sephora try-on haul. So again, that is already linked in the cards, and I really do like this. Very metallic. There is like a little bit of glitter in here, but it doesn't look super glittery on the face. Very easy to apply, very, very smooth. I really like this formula, and I don't know that I necessarily needed this because, you know, highlight palettes in general are not like the smartest purchase for me because I'm so fair. I feel like if you have a medium skin tone, you could use like all the shades, but for me, mixing and matching will work. So right here, I've swatched that lightest shade. And look at that glow. It's so pretty. And again, it doesn't look too textured or chunky. It's so beautiful. So I think that this is definitely an underrated product and really nice quality. My next product would be this lip set from Dose of Colors. It came with 3 Velvet Mousse lipsticks and one of their lip liners. I have tried the lip liners before. I think that they are nice. They are like mechanical twist up liners. And this color is XOXO. It is a more like peachy brown. You would think from the packaging it'd be a little bit lighter and pinker, but it's not. So that's a bummer for me because I was hoping that the liner would match the packaging, but it does go well with the liquid lipsticks. But this is a creamy formula. It's easy to line your lips, but it does set to be slightly tacky, which I think will help, you know, hold your lip product in, but it's not dry or uncomfortable. It's easy to apply. So I do like this formula. I wouldn't really buy any other shades though. The ColourPop formula is my favorite. And I wanted to talk about that briefly because it is part of the set, but I mostly wanted to talk about the liquid lipsticks. And I was so excited to try these because I do have the 2 Dose of Colors Velvet lips that came out in the Desi and Katie collection. And I really loved this formula. They're not the same. So the ones in the Desi and Katie collection are just called Velvets, and they're much thinner. And they're more of like a ColourPop Ultra Satin lip where they're pretty long wearing, but they don't set down completely. Like the regular lipsticks, which are very comfortable, but they set completely. So when I got these Velvet Mousses, I was very confused when they are in fact very moussey and not on the thinner side like these. I didn't get that they were different formula. So formula wise, they're similar. It's more of like the texture that's different. So the regular Velvet one is very thin. Again, like a ColourPop Ultra Satin lip, long wearing, doesn't set completely. The original matte liquid lipsticks do set down completely, but they are moussey formula that is pretty comfortable. It's not like suck the life out of your lips, but it will be a little bit drying, but it is more long wearing. And then for the Velvet Mousse lips, they're a thicker, more moussey texture than both of these. Actually, both of these are a little bit more liquidy. I did actually just like before this video swatch all 3 of them on my hand to really feel the difference in the texture. And the original matte liquid lipsticks almost feel a little bit more silicone-y when you're swatching them. And this really is like a thicker mousse, but it doesn't feel too heavy on the lips. It does set mostly, and it is pretty long wearing, but it's not quite as matte as the regular liquid lipsticks, but honestly, they're similar enough. It's really also the applicator that's different. This is a flat paddle applicator. instead of the more like chair style that I love. So let me show you the 3 shades. This first one is Main Squeeze, and again, it's definitely a thicker, very moussey texture. Then we have Sweet Talk. They're also super pigmented. All 3 finishes are actually. And then the other color is Other Half. And I, again, was hoping, you can see that the tops are slightly different colors. I knew these would all be nudes, but I was hoping they'd be a little bit more on the pink side because I already have a couple other nudes from Dose of Colors that are more warm tone. So it's really like more like pink, peach, and brown toned. But these 2 are pretty similar. When I've worn these, I've really enjoyed the formula. I think the finish is nice. The colors are very pretty. I am really impressed with these, and honestly, I do think of them as like their regular liquid lipsticks, just coming in different shades. So I like this formula. I like these shades. I'm happy to have them in my collection. Dose of Colors did just release 3 more liquid lipsticks. They promoted or added to the permanent line Nude Mood, which was a BoxyCharm exclusive, but I'm excited to see they added new shades. But I'm disappointed that the brand has been taken out of Ulta. I don't know if that's a result of COVID that they've had to like pull out of some third-party retailers, but I'm bummed to see that. But Dose of Colors makes my favorite liquid lipsticks, and those are great. Then we have number 3, which is the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Foundation. And this is something that I've actually reviewed previously. I had purchased the shade LG3, which was the lightest warm tone shade that was available on the Ulta website. And it was not it. Says it was too dark. It was a little olive looking. It looked terrible on me. So it was hard for me to really test out the formula because the shade was so wrong, and I don't want to mix things if I don't have to. So when they had these on sale again during 21 Days of Beauty, I decided to try a different shade, and that would be LN2. So the second lightest neutral tone shade works perfectly for me. So this foundation really is full coverage, and it does have more of a satin finish. It's not too matte, but it's not dewy. It wears really nicely on me. I wouldn't call it a like an oil control matte foundation, but it does wear for a long time. Because it is a foundation and concealer, I don't use it that way. I just use it as foundation, but you can either pump from the top, or they have the large doe foot applicator you can apply it with. And I actually have just been applying it like this. I love that they have both of those options though. This is a really great foundation. I am happy to have this, and I will be keeping it. You guys know I prefer full coverage, so I'm glad that I was able to find a good shade for me. They do have a huge shade selection on their own website, but unfortunately only a handful or not enough of the shades are also available on Ulta. I would get it if some shades had to be, you know, Ulta online exclusives, because they can't carry every single shade in store, but like they're not even available online at Ulta. But it's a really good foundation. I've really been enjoying it. Next favorite is something that I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is the Uoma Coming to America Black Magic Royal Heritage palette. And this is my first time trying anything from the brand, and it's really like the first thing I've been interested in. And this is so pretty. So it's a really nice, sleek, compact palette, which I love. You've got 5 metallics and 5 mattes. I'm wearing it on my eyes today. I have created 3 different looks with this palette so far. Insane. I think the metallics are so foiled and shimmery. They're so beautiful. I do get a lot of fallout on my face when I'm applying them, but it's very easy to brush away, which is great. I've had experience with like Juvia's Place eyeshadows are a little too like wet, and when I'm trying to brush away the fallout, it like smears on my face, but don't have that issue with these. And the mattes are very pigmented, but they blend nicely, they build nicely. And I was afraid of this purple and this pink, but I've used both of them and they work really well. I'm wearing the purple in my outer corner today, and it's definitely not as rich as it looks, and that works perfectly for me. But I do think it is nice and buildable if you're wanting more of this punchy color. But I love these 2 mattes. Something about the undertone of those is really unique to me, especially like the darker one. It's like a really like pretty rosy shade, but it's like brown tone as well. It may not have been the best place to swatch those. Something about those shades is just like really unique, and I've loved them, and I've worn both of those with every look. That has been like my transition color, my crease color, and then I'll put something different in the outer corner. Love this palette. The shades are really, really beautiful. I was really impressed with the formula, so I will definitely keep my eye out for more palettes from Uoma. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. In the future, you can get this at Ulta, by the way, and it is still available, which is great. So let me know what I should try from the brand. And then my #1 product of this month would be from Artist Couture, and it is the Love Sprung Volume 1 blush palette. They do have 2 different versions, and in Volume 1 you have a pink blush, a peach coral blush, and then this shimmery like warm neutral blush. I thought I could use this as a blush topper. No, it is too pigmented for that, so I did have to use it on its own. First off, I love the packaging. It's really sleek but also very cute. I love the way that these look on the cheeks. The mattes are pigmented, they blend nicely, they don't look chalky on the skin, and I actually like the shimmer one too. I didn't really think I was going to, and it's definitely a different look. It's a little bit more bronzy for me, but, and again, those swatches aren't going to be the best right here, but they apply really nicely with a brush. Didn't require too much building. I love the way that these looked on the face, and I'm sure I have similar shades to the matte colors, but the shimmer is definitely unique to me. And you guys know I don't like pink blushes. I actually really like this one. I thought it was really pretty on the skin, and I am definitely happy to have this in my collection, and I would totally recommend this blush palette to you guys. It's a great product. So guys, I know this was a very long video. I apologize, but I had a lot of stuff to get through, and I am honestly impressed with myself for the fact that I tested out so many things in only so many days. Also, now that I'm sitting here looking at this ColourPop highlight swatch, I can see the blue in it a little bit. Interesting. So anyway, I would love to know your thoughts on all these products in the comments down below. I would love to know what things you tried out this month. What were your most favorite, your least favorite? Let me know all the tea. And thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.